Welcome to the Breakthrough and Bloom podcast. My name is Kelsey Marks, and I am your host and your Breakthrough BFF. My mission in the world is to help women who are interested in spirituality really, truly understand who they are at the core of their being, guiding them through the process of healing themselves and really honing into what it means to be human. I intend to be an open channel to allow insights to flow in that help you break through to the next level of who you were always meant to be. With these conversations, we're going to shift some perspectives, okay? And we're gonna give you a new way to live the life that you live, allowing the opportunity to truly manifest what it is that you desire. So if you're looking to break through to the next level of who you are, to live the life of your dreams, and to gain a deeper understanding of spiritual topics, well, you have come to the right place. And I know we're going to have so much fun together, and I am beyond excited to have these conversations with you. So let's go ahead and get started, shall we? Why, hello, and welcome to the first ever Breakthrough and Bloom podcast. This is such an exciting moment for me. It's been a culmination of a lot of different things, a lot of changes, challenges, growth, and personal experiences. And this podcast is going to be so incredibly fun and expansive. And in fact, it kind of already is for me. First and foremost, let me go ahead and introduce myself to give you a little bit of a background of who exactly you'll be hanging out with in this podcast. My name is Kelsey Marks, and I am a level 2 Reiki practitioner. I'm a sound healer and a spiritual coach with specializations in shadow work and working with dragons. Now, if you don't know what Reiki is, what sound healing is, what shadow work is, or what dragons are, don't worry, I will definitely be going over these in more depth in future episodes. For those of you who are interested in astrology, I am a Scorpio sun and moon and Gemini rising. And for you human design buffs out there, I am a 2/4 manifesting generator. And if you don't know what any of that means, no worries, I'm going to teach you soon. I am happily married to my soulmate, Jordan, and our 2-year anniversary is coming up in August. We have a dog named Ranger, and he is a chocolate lab and pit bull mix and is literally the biggest baby in the world. We call him our son because, well, he is, and we don't plan on having any human babies, so dogs it is. And if you hear him bark in the back or walking around or playing with his toys or whatever in the background, it's just Ranger saying hi because he's usually behind me on the bed while I record. And Jordan and I, we actually bought a camper trailer this year, and we are super excited to start traveling with it. We both work remotely, so this winter we're planning on traveling down to the southern part of the United States to really get out of the New England winters, because if you're familiar with them, they're just not great. Some fun facts about me. I love to dance, and I love a good song that you can't help but just like move your body to. I also enjoy singing, and if it's a really good song, I'll like have it on repeat for a good minute. Neither of these things I do like in a public or competitive way. It's just like how I like to have fun. Also, I love dogs, like love them. I think they're the greatest animal on this planet. And anytime we go anywhere and there's like a dog somewhere, I'm like, oh my God, the puppo, look at the baby. I just can't help it. It is what it is. That and cows. I love cows. They're so cute. They're like pretty close to dogs in my list of animals. One day, Jordan and I were actually going to have a micro farm. That's like a big plan of ours. And I'm going to have my cows. I also like to consider myself like a solar panel because I thrive off of the sun. I absolutely love it, and I love the heat. I love warm weather. I could sit outside in the shade on like a 90-degree day, 70% humid, and be like, yeah, this is it. And it's funny because my best friend, she like thrives off of the moon, and we always say we're like the yin and the yang of one another, and honestly we are in so many different aspects, but it's just like funny because she's all about the nighttime, and the nighttime I'm like, I'm gonna be inside under my blanket chilling out reading a book. And speaking of reading, I love reading. I actually have a goal this year to read 100 different books, and I've currently read 54 books. So we're getting there. I enjoy the like self-help, psychology, neuroscience type books. I typically like read the things to learn in the morning, and at night I enjoy a good fiction novel. I've read a lot of the Colleen Hoovers, so that type of vibe. I'm into the romance novels, but also like the psychological thrillers. Anything that's like a feel good, things like that. So if you have any good book recommendations, please send them my way. I'm always adding to my to be read list on Goodreads. I think there's like, I don't know, I might have like 70 books in there that I want to read, but you know, send them my way. I'll add it. Let's get that list to 100, shall we? Clearly, I'm also into spirituality, as this podcast is very heavily influenced by spirituality. For me, Reiki is the modality that has really stuck with me. I've done a ton of different things in the spiritual world, though don't get me wrong, there's like a ton more out there, and I'm always open to learning more. So I'm not saying like, you know, I've done it all. But I have done a lot. Like I've done astrology, I've done tarot, I've done shadow work, I've done past life regressions, quantum healing, the float sensory deprivation tanks, QHHT, which is quantum healing hypnosis technique developed by Dolores Cannon. I've done sound healing, meditations, breath work, RRT, which is rapid resolution therapy developed by John Connolly, and just like so much more. And I'm taking all of the knowledge I've gained through these past couple of years of really diving like deep into healing myself and into this world of spirituality. And I'm bringing out all of this knowledge for you guys to hear and learn from, so you can, you know, benefit from everything that took me years to learn in a matter of just like, I don't know, a couple podcast episodes, so a couple hours. I think that's a great speed up, don't you? And I really pride myself on a skill that I have, which is being able to learn complex concepts and topics and bring them down into like an easier, more digestible way of understanding. When I look back in my life, I realize I've kind of been doing this for a long time, especially as an adult and in like the corporate environment. I've had a lot of examples of it. So luckily for you, I'm here to make spirituality not only make sense, but is easier to comprehend and digest, and is also fun to do and to learn. And I know when you're just starting out with spirituality and seeing what's out there, you can totally and very easily get overwhelmed and confused. Like there are plenty of amazing and gifted spirituality teachers and people and hippies and witches and gypsies and all of those amazing things out there. And I'm well aware they're out there. But I'm also well aware that sometimes they are speaking on like a different vibrational frequency than where a lot of people are at, and their message gets missed because it can't be heard, like truly vibrationally heard. Like you can hear them, but you're not like getting what they're saying. And listen, there's totally nothing wrong with this, because each and every one of us, we're living and experiencing our own path, our own journey, and our own lives, and we're going at our own pace and our own frequency. And just because what someone else is saying doesn't resonate with you doesn't mean like they're right and you're wrong, or they're wrong and you're right. Like it just means that you have different beliefs and you're just at different places in your life. So if you're following like spiritual people and a lot of the things they say doesn't make any sense to you, like that's okay. Give yourself some grace. It's not meant to be understood by you at this moment in time, and that's perfectly fine. And the amazing thing too is that we can like look around us and take what we like from others and leave the rest behind. So like if someone's dropping some knowledge and you like it, like cool, take it, integrate it, run with it. Or if they're dropping some knowledge and you don't agree with it, like just leave it. Don't focus on it. Don't argue about it. Just like let it go. It wasn't meant for you. And we can grow and we can learn so easy when we don't force ourselves to be at a level we aren't yet, like trying to understand topics maybe from Deepak Chopra that maybe like it doesn't make sense when you're reading it. Or maybe if you're reading like Neville Goddard's work, it doesn't make sense while you're reading it. Like that happened to me. There's plenty of times I've picked up books and been like, this is way too dense. And I just put it down. It doesn't mean that the book's good or bad or that I'm dumb or behind or like, it just means like, okay, read something different right now. And this is something I had to learn as well. Like comparisonitis and imposter syndrome are very real things that we experience. And I'm no exception to that. And especially when I started my previous business, which was Cosmic Crow Healing, which I'm sure a good chunk of you listening have come from Cosmic Crow Healing. I was constantly like, oh my God, who do I think I am? Like, I don't have these amazing, beautiful, vivid visions like other people do. And like, until I get to that level, can I really do this? But like in reality, that isn't my level. Also, like, that's not my skill set at all to see things like that. Like I feel things, and that's an amazing skill that I have. Like I can have a session with someone and literally feel in their body where they're holding on or have pain or like where they feel anxiety. Like that's my gift. And by recognizing that my gift is, special to me and super important to give to the world, it has helped me like let go of the fact that my gift isn't the same as others, because it's never going to be, and it was never designed to be. Like if I had the same exact gift as someone else, like, boo, boring. And let me tell you, like, I'm at this point now, but like to get through the comparisonitis and imposter syndrome, that like it took time, and it was difficult when I was in it. And changes and, moving through things, like it can be difficult sometimes. But let me promise you, taking the time to work through it is everything. It has expanded my mind, my soul so much. And the confidence that has been flowing in lately has honestly, like, it feels so good. And it's so beautiful to feel it as like this knowledge and understanding moves from my head, from logic into my heart space. And that is like the goal. Like I want to not only like put the logic in the brain, but help you move it down into the heart. Because when it moves there, you can tell. It's like you begin to know. Like it goes from knowing to like, oh, I know. Like I think you're getting what I'm saying, but like you just know. And just because it's difficult to do this kind of work, it doesn't mean it's not worth doing. I always say this, that the amount of resistance you feel while pursuing your desires is equal to the amount of abundance that lies on the other side. Let me say that again for you. The amount of resistance you feel while pursuing your desires is equal to the amount of abundance that lies on the other side. And that's typically why like our really big dreams and goals feel so like far out there or really difficult, is because those are the big dreams and goals and you can have it. It lies on the other side of moving through that resistance. In abundance, it doesn't necessarily mean money. And I know that's like the big one. Obviously, look at the world we live in, but abundance could be more love. It could be more patience. It can be more free time to do things with those you love. It could be eating better, cleaner, healthier food. It could be new opportunities. It could be new friendships. It could be new romances. Like it's so much more than money. And also money is just like a neutral ass tool, first and foremost. And I'll teach you more about this and how to create and foster a healthy relationship with money in the future. I'm not going to dive into it right now. I'm also still on that journey of like really fostering a really loving and beautiful relationship with money. But I definitely want to take you on that ride with me and teach you as I learn. And that's another thing about me too, is like I'm a perpetual student. I will forever learn. I'm always interested in knowing more. And in fact, I kind of get bored if I'm not learning something new. So I'm always digging, always looking for something. And then I get so excited about what I did learn and I have to share it. So voila, podcast, that's how it came to be. Like I'm learning and I want to share it. And actually, really, this podcast, it's really taking my favorite part of my Reiki sessions and just making it its own beautiful thing. Because I really want to help more and more amazing, beautiful women at one time than just one person in a session. So essentially at the end of every Reiki session, I always allow for like 15 minutes to chat because we're both in a space where we're open to receive. Like we just did Reiki together. And I always get these downloads and I just share them. And that's when I see like the gears turning or the light bulbs or the ahas or like the, oh, yes, okay, I get it. Because that's the growth. Like those moments, that's the beginning of change. Because once you know something, you can't unknow it. And that's the point, you know? That's that point of growing, of changing. You can't go back to the version who you were when you didn't have that knowledge. And now it's your choice of what to do with that information now that you have it. You can either use it to make changes or you can refuse it. And again, either is totally fine. But usually what I've noticed with the Reiki sessions is that it's taken and implemented. And let me tell you that, my friends, that's where the changes start. So I have this friend who over the past year, she's been working with me. And honestly, the experience with her is a really big inspiration behind this podcast. And I'd like to share a bit of our story together just so you could get a sense of how this podcast came to be. So about a year ago, I was introduced to this lovely human being by a friend. And she was struggling to control her anxiety, like constantly feeling on edge that something bad was going to happen, like essentially always waiting for the shoe to drop. There was a deep fear that like sat in her chest of always being afraid of getting like sick and having like a common cold or getting sick turn into something like really bad, like getting sick. And between balancing work and her relationships and being a mom, she was at a point in her life where all of her energy was like going elsewhere. And she wasn't even aware of this, that she was constantly taking care of everyone else, but neglecting herself. But she was aware that she was exhausted constantly, which is a big sign for you. If you're feeling that, like, take a minute. Where are you putting all of your energy? And on top of that, she was also in the early stages of grieving from someone who had actually just passed from a terminal illness. So talk about really being like surrounded by that fear, like the fear of being sick, but then also like that happening. So she was really at a difficult point in her life. And when we met, I could feel the tension in her chest. I could see the exhaustion. I could see the lack of energy she had when she spoke. And it wasn't for a lack of trying. It's just when you're tired, you know? And I could tell she was at a point where she was really fed up with feeling anxious all the time, really fed up with feeling scared. But she didn't know how to get out of the cycle, out of the rut she's been in, because it's what she knew. And although she wasn't like happy like some people out there are showing themselves to be, she was comfortable. She was comfortable with her life. So we started working together. We started meeting once a week. And this is when I was doing my one-on-one coaching program. She was familiar with spirituality, but never like really explored it. So that was really fun to like pop someone's spirituality cherry, if you will. So when I told her I do Reiki and that I work with dragons, the look on her face was truly funny, because now that, you know, the friendship that we have now, when I look back, I'm like, that's funny you looked at me like that. And even though it was odd for her, she was probably like, who the fuck is this woman? Like, who did I just sign up with? She allowed me the opportunity to work with her anyways and to have the Reiki session. And I could tell after just the first session, she did begin to feel lighter, like more relaxed, more at ease. And with the coaching program, it was 3 months long. So we continued to work together, going through shadow work together. I was giving her the tools that helped her move through shadow work, but also connect to herself deeper. And I was teaching her and allowing her opportunities to gain new perspectives and new ways of handling emotions. And I remember the first time I could see the shift like changing. I could see that she was beginning to recognize herself, that she was growing, changing into someone she really enjoyed being. It was one of our monthly Reiki sessions, and I'm sitting in my office waiting for her to arrive, and my office was totally a vibe. Like, I've got the space set up, the low lights, the incense burning, soft music playing, like, Yes, the vibe. And she comes in, and for the first time, she's not looking nervous or afraid of what might come up. Instead, she comes in so excited, like shining so bright, to tell me about how she was able to work through her son getting a cold and not spiraling for the first time she could ever remember. She told me that she recognized the moment that the anxiety came in, and she was able to get herself into a state of calm using the different tools we've practiced. And she was able to look at the situation with a different pair of eyes. And she was able to take care of her son without worrying, without digging into an anxious cycle that she used to get stuck in before. And she was able to not become so overwhelmed that she exhausted herself. And she knew deep down that they were all safe, they were all healthy, and that the common cold would pass. And let me tell you, the woman I saw after that was not the woman I met at first. And the more we talked and the more I saw she no longer let the anxiety lead the way, like she had this awareness and control of her emotions that was new to her. And it was so beautiful to see her like embrace it. And she had like more patience and more love to give. And she was learning the signs of fatigue, and she was trying out different activities to make her cup full, to make her happy. I saw the spark in her eye, her posture was a little straighter, more excitement in her stories, just like more vibrance coming out of her body. And she was, doing those things that filled her cup, and she was doing it without feeling guilty. And she was setting an example for her son of what it means to take care of yourself and to love yourself. And she was also setting an example for her partner of how to recognize things within yourself that are ready to be healed. It was like so beautiful to see this moment. I love this moment. I love thinking about this moment. And really the most like beautiful thing, it's like the cherry on top, is recently she told me that this is the best relationship she's ever had with herself. That she feels like a whole new woman, that she loves who she is, and that she's a completely different version of herself than who she was a year ago. And when she looks back, she can't believe the growth that happened, but she knows it did. She lived it. She's living it. And she's so excited to live her life every day. And she's confident in herself, in her abilities. And she's created space for the healthiest relationships that she's ever had in her life. And she's also letting go of things that no longer serve her, including old relationships that just aren't a vibrational match for her anymore. So this podcast, this is what it's all about. I intend to make this podcast a space, a safe space, a safe container for women who are starting on their spiritual journey, or not even that, like you could just be interested in spirituality, but just a journey of change in general. So maybe you're at a point in your life where you don't know what you want to change or even exactly like why, but you know that you feel stagnant now, and you know that something needs to give. Or maybe you're already on the path and have done some self-work already, and maybe like traditional talk therapy you've done, or maybe some spiritual things you've done like sound healing and yoga and all of that stuff, and now you're looking for a really cool sisterhood to support you. Or maybe you're just like, I want more witchy friends to do cool shit with under the full moon with, like let's dance holding hands, like wherever you're at. My intention is to make this podcast a fun place for you to go, to feel like you have someone in your corner cheering you on and helping you really create the version of yourself you were always meant to be. So sure, you'll be learning and you'll be expanding your consciousness and all of that fun stuff, but it's actually going to be fun, and it's going to be effortless, just like existing on Earth was intended to be. Spiritual awakenings, change in general, honestly, can be overwhelming at times. It can be confusing or even daunting, but it really, 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 it doesn't need to be. And I'm here to help you through it all. I'm here to guide you through it. I am the person in your life that I wish I had during my awakening. Not that I would want my awakening to be different, obviously, but I am well aware that my heavy Scorpio influence in my natal chart allows me to really like dig in deep. And I'm also very aware that it's not common. So most people might not be comfortable looking inwards without some help like I did, but I want to give that help. So not only are you getting a super cool super fun, goofy, and amazing breakthrough BFF here. You're also getting a cheerleader, a guide, a coach, a teacher, a mentor. I'm going to be teaching you all that I've learned, and I'm going to break it down into easy, bite-sized information that takes away the overwhelm, the fear, or the hesitation when it comes to making changes in your life. And we're going to break through into the version of yourself you were always meant to be. Because let me tell you, that version of you that you dream of, it's not just a dream. It exists. And you are more than worthy and capable of bringing that version of you into reality. You can literally manifest anything and everything. It's just our limitations we place on ourselves here that make it seem like we can't. So you're going to be breaking down and removing these limitations slowly. We're not going to overwhelm you. And we're going to replace them with beautiful, expansive, and exciting new truths. So if you're ready to start this journey, to change your life, to be happier consistently, to feel comfortable in your skin, to have control over your emotions, to have healthier relationships with not only others, but also yourself, to manifest your wildest dreams, you are in the right place, babe. And it's going to be at a nice, friendly, comfortable pace. And my biggest ask of you here is to just listen without judgment and allow yourself to decide for yourself whether what you hear resonates with you or it doesn't. And I'm aware everything I say may or may not resonate with you, and that is perfectly fine because, again, we're all on our own paths and our own unique vibrations. But what I do ask is just allow yourself to be open to receive and to just listen. And if something is like, I don't know about that, then just leave it. There's no need to fight or argue against it because I'll tell you right now, you're not going to change my mind by arguing with me. But you can absolutely be curious and you can ask questions and you can play devil's advocate and you can have the conversations. But if something triggers you or makes you mad, makes you sad, makes you uncomfortable, then leave it. It's not for you at this time. But instead, maybe you want to focus on why that bothered you to begin with. Like, what belief are you holding that's making you upset at the fact that something was said? And the intent of this podcast really is to be a gift of knowledge. And sometimes some shit I say will fly right by your conscious mind and settle into the subconscious. So if you're like, what is she talking about? Just know, like, hey, it could be that it's not for your conscious mind, okay? It's for your subconscious, and I did that on purpose. And as much as I'd love to dive into the subconscious mind and what its role is, that's a whole nother episode, which we'll get to. So I'm not doing it right now. So I hope that this first episode was just as fun for you as it was for me, like a little first coffee date with your new friend. And I would absolutely love to connect with you and answer any questions that you have. In fact, please send me the questions. Let's have the conversations. Like, do it. Don't be afraid to reach out or to be like, I don't understand this. Like, send it my way. You never know what inspiration you might like spark within me by asking the question. And you might not even know who else has the same question, but is too afraid to ask. So by you asking and me providing an answer, you're helping others as well. So yes, send me any questions, any comments, or whatever on Instagram at Breakthrough and Bloom. Again, that's Breakthrough and Bloom, all spelled out. And while you're there, why not just follow along and join the community of beautiful, like-minded women who are also on their journeys of healing and becoming the best versions of themselves. And on that note, too, send this podcast to your friends, anyone you love so much that you want to see them win again and again and again. Send this to your accountability buddy. Send this to your hippie or your witchy friends. Send this to someone you just want to send some good vibes to. Like whoever popped into your mind at first when I mentioned this, send it to them. And thank you again so very much for joining me here on the first ever episode of Breakthrough and Bloom. I cannot wait to see where this journey takes us and the friendships we form along the way. And in next week's episode, we're going to be talking about everyone's favorite thing, such a buzzword, Manifestation. So make sure you're following to get notifications when it drops next Friday. And I am so proud of you already, and I'm so grateful for all of your support. And in case no one has said this to you already today, I am proud of you. You're doing amazing, sweetie. And I love you, and I love you, and I love you. And I'll see you in the next one.